just wanted to spend some time talking about listening. I don't know if you guys can hear that. Well, there's a lot of sound. And I think you all know that I'm not in an office. I'm not somewhere surrounded by books and a chair. And it's not because of what you see, but because of what you hear. It's got me. Blackberry bushes are vicious. You can hear the birds. Anybody here's good at knowing birds? Probably can tell me what kind of bird that is. Someone that's really good at listening. Beautiful, beautiful nature. Let me see if I can climb down here. This is gorgeous. The reason I want to talk about listening today is because too many people spend all of their time talking. I really am not a fan of this format for the purposes of what I use it for. Right now, I completely acknowledge that there's no way for anybody to talk back. There's no way for somebody to push back on what I'm saying. It's kind of like the sound of one hand clapping. I basically have no opposition. I can sit here and say whatever I want. And it sounds justifiable because I have your attention. And I sound credible because no one's talking back. And so in anybody's ignorance, I sound right. But I want to counteract that with talking about the importance of listening. And the reason I say that is because most people talk with the purpose of winning. And what I mean by that is that they talk with the purpose of, I'm right, and I'm going to convince you I'm right so that you can agree with me that I'm right. And you're wrong. Let's find out why you're wrong so that you can then agree with me that I'm right. I don't think that is productive, and ultimately it makes a bad conversation. Listening should be a discussion in itself, in its nature, should be for the purpose of understanding the other person. We cannot change anybody. I have no ability or power to change you, your thoughts, or what you believe. I can introduce new ideas and philosophies, but the method in which I introduce it directly affects your ability to absorb that information, either to affect change in yourself, which you affected change in yourself. I did not. I just proposed the information, you took it. Or not affect change, because maybe my method of walking out into nature, kind of taking long pauses in between my sentences so I can just kind of breathe in this beautiful air and listen to the wonderful sounds around me. And I apologize if that loses some people's attention, but it's just gorgeous out here. Like, it's absolutely gorgeous. I wish I could make it to the other side of that river. I can see way down there, there's some beautiful stuff. If I was a little bit ballsier, I'd stick my phone under the water. You could really see. There's some fish, some critters. Now my ADD's triggering, and I'm off on a complete tangent. But I don't think we should talk to each other with the purpose of winning. I think we should talk to each other for the purpose of understanding. And when we change that in our mindset, we become better listeners. And we should not listen for what the other person is wrong, because then as soon as we hear something, them say something that's wrong, we hyper focus on, you're wrong. I got that one thing that you misspoke. No grace, no compassion. You misspoke. You're wrong. Let me point out how you're wrong. And ultimately, you completely ignore the valid statement that they have over the entire arcing statement. It's called straw man. It's where you have a perfectly good argument and you just pull at the straws. And you look like you're winning the argument because you're pulling out each straw one at a time, individually, out of the scarecrow. I don't know, I've always pictured a scarecrow when I've heard that in philosophy class. But anyway. It's important to listen. And not listen for the purpose of winning, but listening for the purpose of understanding what's around us, who we're talking to, and giving them grace and compassion in what they're trying to say. And you will find that when you listen with the purpose of grace, compassion, and understanding, that all of a sudden your conversations become pleasant. They become more impactful on the other person because they feel heard. And your points that you raised become more valid because they're no longer being raised as a position of conflict, but as a proposal of a new idea. Which, tell me which one sounds more intriguing. Something new, which is exciting and basically the entire sales industry, or opposition, telling somebody they're wrong. Which one, if you were a salesman, which one would you pick? So again, this is not to teach you how to sell things better. I'm telling you, stop selling. That's my purpose. Stop selling. Start listening. Talk for the purpose of understanding the other person. Ask questions. Oh my gosh, so important. That's a whole video in itself. Asking questions for the purpose of understanding the other person. If anybody wants to learn more about this, I recommend you study John Lennox. He has mastered the art of asking questions, listening with a purpose, and understanding the individual. Every time he ever steps on a debate stage, he does not have a rehearsed script of every way that he can possibly answer all of these different things. He's not memorizing gotcha questions, or he's listening to what the person's saying. And he's not afraid to say that doesn't make sense. But he's also not afraid to ask a question that leads the own person to consider that what they just said doesn't make sense. Now, thank you for listening. I hope that this video has encouraged you to be more active listeners. And what that means is not how much attention you spend, but how you spend that attention. Is it for the purpose of winning? Or is it for the purpose of understanding? Understanding why are we here? It's a beautiful sound. Have a nice day, ladies and gentlemen.